What's up everybody, Absolutely Absurd here, and today I'm coming at you guys with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the RPS that exists in Tekken 8, specifically the fundamental RPS that governs neutral, being poking, keep out, and rush down. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So before I even get into the RPS that actually exists in Tekken 8, I want to establish that this is not a new concept, and this is something that has existed in fighting games for years and will always be a central part of basically every fighting game. We all know the most popular example of the RPS model in Street Fighter, which is the fireball, jumping over the fireball, and using an anti-air to stop the opponent from jumping. This RPS is the core mechanic that governs how everything else is designed. Obviously, there's going to be other RPS interactions that exist in fighting games, but this is kind of the core. This is what the game is truly built upon. From a neutral perspective, this is what you're going to have to get good at playing. Of course, this doesn't just exist in Street Fighter. This exists even in crazy, super hyped up anime games. For example, Ultimate Ninja Storm, one of my favorite fighting games. Even this game, as psychotic as it may seem as a glance, has a really core RPS to it. The basic neutral RPS would be a chakra dash, which for those who don't know is the fundamental mechanic for closing the distance on an opponent and starting a combo. If your opponent chakra dashes, you can counter it by using a jutsu. And if your opponent is using a jutsu, you can counter that with well-timed movement to dodge it and then punish them. However, well-timed movement loses to a chakra dash, depending on who's reacting to what. This is kind of a bit of a simplification, but it just kind of goes to show that this RPS builds fighting games, and even stuff that is as crazy and explosive as anime games like Connections and Sparking Zero or Xenoverse or something like that. This RPS is what makes fighting game players good. But that's what makes Tekken 8 situation a little unique, is that it doesn't have some universal mechanic like a chakra dash to build this around. I mean, Heat Burst just doesn't work the same, as the heat mechanic doesn't interact with the Heat Burst in a way to counter it, except for Heat Bursting itself. And also, Tekken doesn't have fireballs anymore. So how is there going to be some sort of RPS with no core universal mechanic to build the RPS around? Well, Tekken does something interesting where they build their RPS more so around a style of play as opposed to a specific move or a specific type of move. This does two things. One, it makes neutral way more complicated compared to a lot of other fighting games. So be patient with yourself when learning neutral in Tekken. It is very not straightforward. But what it also does is that it ultimately allows skill to be the major determining factor. Even if you are using a style of play that air quotes loses to another style of play, if you are more skillful, you can still beat an opponent who's using a style of play that is countering you. The three types of play are active play, reactive play, and proactive play. Starting with the simplest one, we have active play, which is just doing something. It's as simple as using your attack, forcing your mix-up, doing your thing. This may seem like a very basic thing to talk about, but that's often what can beat a lot of players, just doing stuff. A lot of players get caught up in the habit of overthinking their strategy and overthinking their approach, but you have to remember, just doing something is a part of the neutral triangle for a reason. To just do is what the entire basis of fighting games is built on. Doing and responding to someone doing something. Someone has to be the doer. Now, how do we beat our opponents just doing stuff? The way that we beat our opponent just doing stuff is by waiting for them to do the stuff and then punishing them for it. This is called reactionary play or defensive play. If we wait and observe and watch our opponent do something, we can react to it easier because we're putting our attention towards it, and then we can punish them for doing their thing. So then how do we beat an opponent that is just waiting for us to do something? Well, the caveat of waiting for your opponent to do something is that you give them the space to do something. So if my opponent is constantly playing defensive and backing up all the time and waiting for me to do something, I can use this opportunity to run in and then force a mix-up that they can't react to. So reactionary play loses to proactive play, doing something in advance, taking your opportunity, gunning it. That's how you beat reactive play. How do you beat proactive play? By just doing stuff. If the opponent is trying to look for their opportunity to run in and you're just doing your moves, you're just hitting them, they're going to keep running into attacks. They're going to keep hitting themselves. And then thus the triangle begins. This is what neutral's built off of. So in this way, we can see poking as just doing stuff, keep out as reactionary play, and rush down as proactive play. Of course, just like everything in Tekken, it gets way more complex than that when you delve into the nitty-gritty, when you delve into the fact that moves have different frames on hit and on block, and moves have different ranges, and some moves have evasion, and some moves are heat engagers or have heat dashes, and some moves are power crushes, and so on and so forth. This changes some rules a little bit, but these core principles still hold, and this will allow you to dominate players or matchups without even really having to know all the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty details will help you optimize and sharpen up your win percentage by maybe a couple percentage points, but the fundamentals, the foundation understanding of the triangle of RPS that's going on in terms of playstyle will greatly change your performance in your ranked matches. So what takeaway should you have from this? You should understand how to change your play. Is my opponent just sitting there camping? It looks like they're just constantly backdashing, trying to bait me into doing something. Take the space that the opponent is giving you for free. Use the opportunity to rush into your opponent. Take the space that they're giving you for free and take advantage of their indecisiveness. If the opponent seems to just be constantly mashing and they're just attack, let them do their thing. Just wait for them to attack, whiff punish, or armor through their attack. Figure out what attacks they like to use and whiff punish them appropriately. And if your opponent always seems to just be running in and trying to skip neutral by just taking space and trying to take their turn prematurely, just do your game plan. Just operate as normal. Make sure you're throwing out buttons and hitboxes and they'll just keep running into it. So these are the three playstyles that counter each other. And once you understand this, you can learn to use your poking tools, your keep out tools, and your rushdown tools to beat certain playstyles. There is no one right answer or one correct interpretation of what to do with this, but this will start to lead you in the right direction to think more critically about your matches, and hopefully it will translate to more success in your ranked games. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.